Hello and welcome back to Enlighten Us. You are joining us for lesson 9 where we are looking at proper isms, al-ma'arif. Anwa' al-ma'arif, the types of proper ism. There are isms that are preceded by al. We've already seen a few examples of this. There's what's called al-alam, proper nouns. There's asma'ul ishara. Again, we've met this set of isms. Asma'ul mawsula, relative pronouns. Again, we've met these isms. Ad-dama'iru, pronouns. Again, you should all have them memorized by now. And al-idafa, specifically the mudaf in that composition. And al-moneda, and that's the one being called. And we'll look at some examples to understand a little bit more for each one. So let's start with al, let's start with the. And let's revisit an example we saw in the very first lesson. أكل الرجل في الحديقة. The man ate in the garden. And now what's greyed out is reversed because we're focusing on the al. Starting off with the rajulu, what you have is al attached to rajulun, which gives us ar-rajulu, which gives us the meaning rather than a man, the man. We see something very similar with hadiqa. We have al plus hadiqa, which gives us al-hadiqati. It's worth noting here that it's a hadiqa tin, hadiqatin, so the double kasra there, the jar, and the jar here as well, is because of the fi. And we look at this in much more detail in incoming lessons when we start focusing on huruf and specifically huruf al-jar. So I just thought I'd point that out. Otherwise, the original word would have, of course, been in rafa' hadiqatun. I'm just going to note one other thing. For those of you that recall from when we did the Adafr and we spoke about the ending noon, so where you have a plural or where you have a dual ism being removed, this is not the case with al. The ism, as you'll notice, will retain the noon. It has absolutely no impact. It gets rid of the tanween, but it doesn't get rid of the noon, unlike the Adafr. Now let's have a look at proper nouns, ism al-alam. So we have three types. The first is ismun, name, and this is name of a person, for instance, or name of a place. Mecca is an example. We have kunya, and what kunya is are isms that contain abu or or akh, so mother of, father of, brother of, etc. So Abu Abdullah, for instance, would be an example, so father of Abdullah. And lastly, laqab, and that's a nickname. We have the example of al-Faruq, which means courageous, so the courageous one. Demonstrative pronouns. We've looked at these already, asma'ul ishara, and if you remember, dhaka was the bonus ism al-ishara, but the original ones as well. So hada, hadani, haula, hadihi, hatan, haula, dhalika, dhanika, ulaika, tilka, tanika. All of these isms are proper isms in their own right. Similarly, relative pronouns, asma'ul mawsula, so alladhi, alladan, alladina, allati, allatan, allawati, allai, allati, as well as men and ma. And if you recall, the first set are your khassa. These are always relative pronouns The second set of your amma, these serve different functions, and we'll look at those different functions. But as long as they're serving as asma' al-mawsula, they are proper. Similarly, ad-dama'iru, and again, both sets. So the first set, huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu, and nahnu. So these are your dama'ir al-munfasila, so these are your standalone pronouns. These are proper isms, they're part of the al-ma'arif, as are ad-dama'ir al-muttasila, and muttasila means attached. So hu, huma, hum, ha, huma, hunna, ka, kuma, kum, ki, kuma, kunna, I, na, and na. Now let's look at the Adafr. And of course we've looked at the Adafr, but we're going to look at it from a different angle. We're going to look at it from the angle of properness and how it fits into this idea. So we've got here Kitabul Walad, Kitabul Waladi, the boy's book. If you recall, Kitabu is our mudaf. Al-Waladi is our mudaf ilayh. Even though there is no indicator, or it would seem there is no indicator of properness, the mudaf ilayh, so kitabu here, is proper. It's proper by virtue of being part of an idafa where the mudaf ilayh contains al or any other indicator of properness. So by that association, it's proper. It's proper by association. So kitabu in this case, as part of the idafa, would be considered proper on its own, of course. As long as it has tanween, it wouldn't be. It would have tanween, and it wouldn't be. It'd be common. It wouldn't be proper. And lastly, we have what we call al-Moneda. So we have huruf nida. So let's introduce ourselves to those first. So we have ya, ay, hayya, a, ayya, and wa. And we use these to call. So for instance, ya bintu. We have in this composition harfun nida. As you can see, we have ya here, ya there. That's our harfun nida. And we have what's called al-Moneda. So bintu here is the one being called. The Moneda here is proper, even though on its own bintu, or it would be bintun with tanween, may appear common by association, again similar to the Adafr, to that harf. By association, it is proper. So we've come to the end of the lesson, and as has become customary, we're going to have a mulakhas, we're going to have a summary. So there are 7 types of proper isms. If you remember, the first one, any ism preceded by el, demonstrative pronouns, proper names, relative pronouns, the mudaf, in an idafa, and then the one being called. And then remember, and I'm sure you already have by this point, memorize all the charts that you saw today, memorize. Thank you for joining us for this lesson. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and of course check out the description box for additional resources. See you in the next one, inshallah. Bye.